Hey, Drivetribe! Migz here, and I'm with Donald Osborne.
That's me, Donald Osborne.
Wow! It's a pleasure to meet you today.
Pleasure to be here today with you.
Thank you for spending time with us.
It's amazing whenever you get out of the East Coast and come to the West Coast. It's always good to see an East Coast face.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. We have stories to tell you. Just hang on a second. Wait for it. So, Donald, where are we right now?
We're right now in the lower level of the Petersen Museum in Los Angeles, the Petersen Automotive Museum in Los Angeles.
This is my first time being here, actually, and I get to watch Donald work on his appraising of a specific car we can't really talk about, but we're in the vault, and I was watching him do his work and taking pictures and all that stuff, and it was an amazing time. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Migz. It's a funny thing. People often ask me what it is that I do for a living, and I explain that I'm an appraiser, consultant, historian, writer, part-time TV host. And it's very interesting that you got the opportunity to actually see what I do day in and day out, which is to inspect cars, and then I go back to my office and do all the research to try and find the appropriate comparables, and then come up with a value opinion. So it's really interesting work.
Well, that's great. So now we're going to get back to the other part that you guys wanted to hear, right? So now Donald is going to talk to you about a little bit of your history and how you got started in this, and maybe your some of your beginnings in the Northeast that you were just talking about.
Well, as we discussed, it's a very funny thing. People often ask how I got started in cars. Did you grow up with cars? And the answer is no. I was born and grew up in New York City. In fact, born in Manhattan, and then moved to Queens when I was about 7 years old. And of course, living in New York City, you don't need a car. My family didn't buy their first car until I was 12 years old. And so I developed a love for cars at a very young age without even having a car in the family. I had two older brothers, both of whom really liked cars. They didn't become the complete car nut that I am today, but nonetheless, they were really engaged with cars. My older brother subscribed to Road and Track and Competition Press and Auto Week and Car Life and all these magazines. And so I grew up reading these, and they took me to my first auto show, the New York Coliseum, when I was 8 years old, and I just went crazy.
That's great. And so what happened from there? I mean, why did you move from New York?
Well, I stayed in New York for a very long time. And in fact, it's a very interesting story that because my brothers and I were car experts, when it came time for my father to buy a new car, because his work had moved from New York City to northern New Jersey, so he needed a car to get there and commute. We knew exactly what he needed to buy because we read all the car magazines, and we just knew that the best car he could possibly buy was a Peugeot 404 sedan. It was great, the great history of Peugeot, one of the oldest car makers in the world, this Pininfarina designed body. It was just absolutely amazing. And so my dad, being sort of a plain guy, said, well, sure, why not? These guys spend a lot of time reading car magazines, so I'll go and check it out. He went to the Peugeot dealer, and he drove the car and said, this is really interesting, but there's no way I'm going to spend $3,500 on a car with no stylage, a word he made up on the spot.
Okay.
So he went to the Pontiac dealer instead and bought a 1967 Pontiac Catalina four-door hardtop, which is certainly a car with stylage. So, and it's an interesting thing. Growing up in the city and loving cars the way I did and still do, it was a challenge for me to find those cars that were really, really special. So I became very adept at a very young age of writing away to the manufacturers to get catalogs. Okay. Because, of course, you'd call up, or I would call up at 8 or 9 years old, and they say, yes, ma'am, can I help you? And even though I tried to lower my voice, it was that they weren't going to send catalogs to a little boy. It wasn't going to happen. But when I wrote letters, they gladly sent catalogs of the Maserati Quattroporte to Mr. Osborne, because surely he might be a customer for this car at some point.
Right.
And so that's sort of how it happened. I was an art major in high school, and my plan was to become a car designer.
Okay.
But as is often the case, I also started singing when I was in junior high school and high school.
Another singer.
Another singer, exactly. And it was very funny, as often happens with young people. I sought the path of least resistance. I had never taken a voice lesson in my life. I sang in an organization called the All-City High School Chorus in New York City. And they had a scholarship competition every year, sponsored by the New York Daily News. And the winner of the competition, which was for seniors in the chorus, was a $500 scholarship, an article in the paper, and a little concert. So I thought, okay, I'll go along with my friends. I graduated from high school early, so I graduated at 16. So I wasn't going to be eligible when I was a senior. So I was just hanging out there. I had a repertoire of 3 songs. And they said, "Does anyone love to sing?" I said, "Sure, I'll sing." And I got up and sang, and I won the contest. And when I realized that friends of mine who had gone to music and art high school and performing arts were going to go to college for singing, I thought, "Ooh, that sounds easy. Art is hard." So I auditioned for a bunch of schools, and most of which turned me down because I was 16 years old, and they didn't take 16-year-old male voice majors. But the Hart College of Music in West Hartford did. I went there, became an opera major, and got my degree in opera.
This is amazing, right? Are you sticking to your seats here? Okay, go.
It's all quite incredibly linear, actually, the way my life and career has worked. I've done 5 completely different things in my life, all of which have come together in what it is that I'm doing right now. I actually made 3 Metropolitan Opera debuts. I first started as a super, which is a spear carrier background person, when I was 13. Started singing the extra chorus of the Metropolitan Opera in large performances when I was 17, and then came back to the Metropolitan and made my solo debut there at 29. And in the meantime, I had gone to the executive training program at Macy's, because you always had to have a real job if you're going to be a performer, and worked at Macy's 40 hours a week while I was still singing. Quit Macy's, sold my car, which was an amazing thing, bought a piano to pursue my singing career seriously. Then, after I made my Met debut, I decided I really love singing and I hated the business of music. I went back into retailing, and through a variety of jobs in retailing, ended up making and producing marketing communications videos, and became a video producer, started my own video production company, and then sold that and went into marketing communications. And then I thought, I love cars. Why don't I do something with cars?
He keeps changing his mind on us.
Exactly. And so in 2004, I quit the marketing communications business, took the courses and studied to become an appraiser, and joined the American Society of Appraisers, and started my business 15 years ago this year.
I don't know what to say. I don't know how to follow up with that.
Well, you talked about singing.
Yes.
Well, I never ever gave up on the singing, however, because singing is something that never leaves you, as you well know. And it's very interesting that today, in all of the work that I do in cars, I find myself singing, not a lot, but fairly frequently. I do a lot of MC work at Concours d'Elegance and car shows around the country, and often I sing the national anthem to open them. In fact, one of the jobs that I love the most is every summer in Carmel. I'm one of the co-MCs of the Carmel Concours on the Avenue, which is sort of the opening event of the week there. I open the show with the Star Spangled Banner and MC for 5 hours and close the show with God Bless America. It's a great gig.
You get to do everything.
Absolutely.
That's so much fun.
Speaking of singing, I even have sung twice the Italian national anthem at the prize giving of the Mille Miglia Storica Rally in Italy.
Buddy, where are we going next? Where are we going next? Do you cook?
I don't, in fact. I love great food. I think that the world is sharply divided between people who cook and people who eat. And I am the people who eat category.
People who eat well.
And I love great food. So if you're a great cook, invite me over anytime. I'd love to taste the food.
All right, that sounds great. That sounds great. So there's a number of other things that I want to ask you, but you're just blowing my mind. What's the next car event you're going to be at?
The next car event I will attend. Actually, I'm leaving in a couple of weeks as we're shooting this to go to Kyoto, Japan. I've been invited once again back to be a judge at the Kyoto Concorso d'Eleganza, which is held in the amazing historic UNESCO World Heritage Site Niho Castle in Kyoto, Japan. And it's absolutely extraordinary. It's an amazing, amazing city, all known for art and culture and craftsmanship. And so it's a great place to have a car show. And it's a beautiful, beautiful event that attracts entrants from around the world. Sure. This year, the features are Zagato and Lamborghini. And so there's Lamborghini owners coming from America, from Italy, from Japan, from all over. Wow. And it's absolutely amazing. And then after that, I'm very excited about this. I'm going to McPherson College. Okay. McPherson is a great school in Kansas that has one of the leading, I think the only actual degree program in automotive restoration. And people are always worried about what's going to happen with the car collecting hobby in the future. Mm-hmm. And the McPherson program is a great example of what will happen, because there are young people who are interested. There are young people who are hungry and passionate about old cars and making sure that we stay with them and that they stay running and current and usable. Sure. And I've been honored to be asked to be the alumni weekend speaker. Okay. And so I'll chat with those folks. Then I'm off to Italy for a month. I spend about 3 months of the year in Italy. I'm off for the month of May to supervise some restoration projects that I'm doing as a consultant, and also for the Mille Miglia. I'm not running it this year, and then for the Concorso Villa d'Este. So it's an exciting couple of months coming up.
I definitely want to get to that last one that you mentioned. I have been to Japan and Kyoto. Amazing place, beautiful place. So you're getting to go to all the good places. Seriously. All right, now I'm jealous.
Well, home is also a beautiful place, which I don't see often enough.
California, out in the desert.
Absolutely, yeah. I, as you, a Northeasterner,
Yes.
and love the Northeast, love New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, Rhode Island, absolutely wonderful. Right. 10 years ago, I decided I'm through with winter. So, and with the traveling that I do, I can live anywhere I can. So why not live in a beautiful place without winter?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So, question for you. You were going to mention something about the car that's behind us?
Yeah, it's very funny. We walked into this room and we sat down and we started chatting, and we were talking about where we were going to shoot this interview. And I said, and you said, well, we can shoot it here. And I thought, well, yeah, that photo in the background makes a great backdrop. And I said, I think, in fact, that's a Ferrari 342 America. And so did a little research, and sure enough, it is. It's one of my favorite cars. It's an absolutely beautiful Pininfarina-bodied cabriolet, 1952. It's absolutely an amazing car that was featured here in a Ferrari exhibition at the Petersen a number of years ago.
He pulled out his phone, and 3 seconds later, he has a picture of the car. I think he had the associate curator come in, and she was trying to help him out, and 3 seconds later, there it was.
Well, I have a feeling about this car. I've always loved this car. And it's a very funny thing that one of the great things about my job is research, training the eye. People often ask me, what does it take to be a good appraiser? And it's all about training the eye. It's not about how you make decisions. It's about how you look at things. Because I can love a car, but that doesn't mean that it necessarily has high value. All I need to do is observe. And that's my chief job. And so it's fun when it gets to actually come together in real life.
Sure. Favorite car, favorite drive, favorite song. Can you paint us a picture?
That is a really, really, really tough question. And, I sort of have to throw it back. Favorite car for what season? Favorite drive, what continent? And favorite song, what genre? But to make it easy.
Yes, you answered right. That's exactly what I'm asking you.
to make it easy. The truth of the matter is, obviously, I get asked a lot, what's my favorite car? And the truth is, my favorite car is whatever car I'm in the mood for that day.
Sure.
However,
so what are you in the mood for right now?
I've recently been driving a car that I really love. I have a very, very small collection because I'm never home to drive them. Sure. And I'm also blessed to have lots of great friends and clients with wonderful cars that I can drive all around the world. So that helps. It's a great perk of the job. But I have a 1960 Fiat 1500 Oscar Pininfarina Coupe. It's a really beautiful, beautiful car, very emblematic of the late 50s, early 60s Italian design, very clean and elegant, almost looks like sort of a miniature Ferrari 250 GT. Oh. And it's got a really wonderful twin-cam Oscar engine built by the Maserati brothers, designed by the Maserati brothers, built by Fiat. And it's a really neat car, very limited production. They only made 300 of them. They were sold directly by the coach builder, Pininfarina. And it's a really neat car. I've always wanted one. I finally bought one 3 years ago. And I've been driving it a lot lately in the last few weeks. And I'm going to take it on a rally this summer. And so driving that car on one of my favorite roads, I'm taking it on this rally in July, the Sports Car Market 1000 rally, because it goes through some amazing roads in Oregon and Washington State. Okay. And so driving these roads through Oregon, wonderful sinuous roads, enough sort of twisty bits to keep it entertaining, but lots of long sweepers and great elevation changes that are gradual but substantial. That's really, really fun. And as for song, it's a funny thing. I love period radios in cars. One of the things that drives me crazy is when people pull out the period radio and put a modern radio in. So I love period radios in cars. But the reality is that period radios put out lousy sound. And I'm fortunate enough to actually be able to entertain myself in the car. So one of my favorite songs, and I know that we were talking about the fact that you love 40s music. There's this wonderful song that was written in 1943 in Italy by a composer named Migz called La Strada del Bosco. And it's about a road in the woods. It's a love song, and it is one of my favorite songs. So an ideal day would be driving my Fiat 1500 Oscar Pininfarina Coupe through a wonderful road in Oregon, winding with these huge pine trees on either side. And I can just start singing, Vieni, c'è una strada nel bosco, il suo nome conosco, vuoi conoscerlo tu? Vieni, è la strada del cuore, dove nasce l'amore, che non muore mai più. Laggiù tra gli alberi, intrecciato col rami in fior, c'è un nido semplice, come sogna il tuo cuor. Vieni, c'è una strada nel bosco, il suo nome conosco, vuoi conoscerlo tu? That'd be a perfect day.
Look at this guy. My God. And that, my friends, is how you paint a picture. So next time I ask this question, don't pause or hesitate. Just do what comes natural to you.
Absolutely, Migz.
Where can we all find you if we wanted to hire you to sing or or appraise a car? Because we do have a lot of vehicle owners at Drivetribe. So.
Well, as I said, Migz, I do appraisals, also consulting on collection acquisition and sales, and collection building. And my website is automotivevaluationservices.com. My company is Donald W. Osborne, LLC, Automotive Valuation Services. We're based in Palm Springs, California, but we work all around the world.
And do you have a jingle that goes with that?
No, not yet. That's coming soon.
You're supposed to sing the 800 number 7 times.
All I can think of is the Castro Convertibles commercial, but that's okay.
No,
sorry.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank
Nice
you.
spending time with you too.